Welcome to Travel Italia, the show about travel in Italy. Ciao, everybody. Welcome back to Travel Italia, the podcast that helps you plan your Italian vacation. I'm your host, Catherine, and today we're diving into one of Italy's most beloved rituals, ordering coffee. So grab your espresso and let's get started. First, because I'm American, I wanted to briefly discuss the differences between the coffee culture in Italy versus the US. If you're coming to Italy for the first time, you'll quickly notice that coffee here isn't just a drink, it's a cultural experience. While Americans might grab a to-go cup and sip coffee while walking, we do that a lot, don't we? Driving or working. Italians treat coffee as a special moment, a moment of pause, of interaction with other people. It's an experience, and this experience is almost sacred. Here's the first big difference that you'll see. In Italy, there are two ways people drink their coffee. You can drink coffee standing at the bar, which is the counter in front of the barista. The Italians call this al banco. Or you can sit down at a table and enjoy your coffee. Now, Italians keep it pretty quick and simple, no long lines, no complicated orders, and absolutely no giant paper cups with your name scribbled on them. Keep in mind that if you do choose to sit down to have a coffee, you may pay a table service charge. It's just a little bit more for your coffee, and this is predominantly true in very touristy areas. So this isn't universally true. It just depends on the cafe and the location, on the bar that you go to and where you're at in Italy. Now let's talk about the menu. Forget about caramel macchiatos and pumpkin spice. Italian coffee culture is refreshingly straightforward and simple. Here are the most common types of coffee. The first is obviously the most popular, espresso, which is simply called un caffè, a coffee, un caffè in Italian. Okay, so when Italians order espresso, they don't ask for an espresso, they just ask for a caffè. This is the default. Of most Italians. So if you've never had it before, it's just a strong shot of very powerful coffee. It's the foundation of Italian coffee drinks, and its size is very tiny. I'm sure everyone's seen an espresso cup, and a true espresso is not even a full cup of espresso. It's not even halfway full. The second one is a cappuccino. Cappuccino is the go-to morning coffee in Italy. It's a mix of espresso, steamed milk, and foam. Italians usually don't drink it after 11 a.m. Milk-based drinks are considered too heavy after the morning and really after a meal. So Italians do drink coffee after a meal, but it's just usually espresso. They think that the combination of coffee and milk is bad for your digestion after a meal, so they avoid it. The third one is a caffè macchiato. If you want a little milk in your espresso, but you don't want a full cappuccino, then try a macchiato. It's just an espresso with a dash of milk, or you could say stained with milk, which is the Italian word macchiato. So it's coffee stained, literally. What it literally translates to is that. And the stain they're referring to is the dash of milk. Number 4 is latte. Be careful here, because the word latte in Italy means a glass of milk. So if you ask for a latte in Italy, you will get a plain glass of milk. The Italian equivalent of what you're used to is called caffè latte. It's served in a larger glass with more milk than a cappuccino. Okay? So be aware that the word latte just means milk. It's a cafe latte that you're looking for. All right, number 5, cafe americano. Okay, so this is an Americano. So if you're missing your large cup of brewed coffee, then you want to ask for Americano. If you've never had one before, it's just an espresso that's diluted with hot water, but still not quite the same as drip coffee back home. Sometimes when you order an Americano, you'll get a cup, like a teacup size cup with a shot of espresso in it. And then on the side, you'll be served a cute little teapot with steaming hot water, which you can then add to your espresso. The first time I was served an Americano in this way, I was a little confused. I thought the barista got my order wrong, but now I'm okay with it. It actually allows you to control the strength of your coffee. So that's how an Americano is sometimes served, not always. Number 6. Number 6 is very interesting because I'm not sure it exists in the US. It's called a caffè corretto. And it's for those of you who are feeling adventurous. A caffè corretto is espresso, which is, quote, corrected, unquote. And how is it corrected? It's corrected with a splash of liquor like grappa or sambuca. It's a post-dinner treat. The idea is that if you put a little alcohol in your post-dinner coffee, it counteracts, or rather corrects, the effect of the caffeine. So these are popular after dinner coffees. The next one, number 7, is caffè shakerato. This is perfect for summer. This is a chilled and shaken espresso, sweetened with sugar, and served in a fancy glass. So it's the perfect treat for a hot summer's day. They're really, really yummy, lovely, and refreshing. All right, number 8, marocchino. A marocchino is a delicious combination of espresso, cocoa powder, and frothy hot milk served in a small glass. And it's a nice pick-me-up. You want maybe an espresso, but with, I don't know, I'd call it like an elevated espresso. It's very small, so it's not, all of the coffee drinks are small compared to sizes in the US. So let's talk about the ordering process. So now that you know the many different types of coffees, let's go over how to order coffee in Italy. It's pretty simple, but there are a few unwritten rules to keep in mind. All right, number 1. Unlike in the US, you usually pay for your coffee before ordering it. So if you walk into a cafe, look for the cash register right away. Head to the cash register, tell them what you want, and they'll give you a receipt. Just a note also here, to those of you who want a dairy substitute, you need to specify if you want soy or almond milk in your drink when you order, because the dairy substitutes usually cost a few cents more. All right, step number 2, you take your paper receipt, okay? Your receipt's important, to the bar, where the barista is, and hand it to them. And again, you need to repeat what you want to the barista. The barista will look at your receipt and make sure you paid, but usually they will ask you, what would you like? Even though it's it's on the receipt. So tell them what you want. Be sure to mention if you want soy or almond milk. Number 3 is you stand at the bar and just drink your coffee there, or go and have a seat. And like I said, if you have a seat, there may be an extra charge. It depends on where you are. And like I said earlier, if you're in a very touristy area, you might pay a bit more. If you choose to drink your coffee standing at the bar like a local, it's really a nice way to have a cultural interaction, because you may have a conversation or have a chat with the barista as the locals do. All right, let's go on to some coffee etiquette tips. Now, to help you fully embrace Italian coffee culture, here are my tips. Number 1, don't order coffee with a meal. So coffee is usually enjoyed on its own, either in the morning or after a meal. So Italians don't drink coffee with their food. So skip the cappuccino alongside your pasta. To them, it makes them ill practically. They're so funny. So you don't want to scandalize your waiter. So wait till after your meal to have a coffee. And again, don't order a cappuccino after 11 a.m. or after your dinner. Now, I tend to think in touristy areas, nobody's going to care. So I don't want to put too much emphasis on this. And you are a paying client, a paying customer. So, you shouldn't feel severe fear of ordering a cappuccino after an 11 a.m. But I just want to make you aware. So I'll change my language here and say, I won't say don't do it, but it's not usual. How about that? It's not usual, and it is frowned upon. All right, next. Number 2. Don't ask for complex customizations. If you want something sweeter, you just use the sugar provided. People don't really make super complex orders. You can ask for soy milk, but keep it simple is my advice. And again, don't expect your normal coffee experience. So things are just different here in Italy. You might get a strange look if you ask for a to-go cup, because Italians don't drink coffee as they walk or as they drive. So it's not anything personal, it's just unusual. And also, don't be disappointed with the portion sizes. In Italy, coffee sizes are much smaller than in the US. Okay, my 5th tip is just enjoy the ritual, embrace the moment. Drinking coffee in Italy isn't just about the caffeine, it's a chance to slow down and savor life, so enjoy it. And on a personal note, one of the things I've come to really love and enjoy is just watching the interactions I see take place in a local bar. As I mentioned, is what the Italians call coffee shops, right? They're called bars. So where everyone knows each other, there's lively conversation. And for whatever reason, I've come to love the distinct noise of clanging cups and plates as they're being moved around by the barista, because there's no plastic or paper cups being used. It's all real ceramic cups and real metal little spoons. It's really quaint. It's a strange little detail, but I've come to love it. All right, so all of this information about coffee, I hope it's been useful to you. I know a lot of you, I'm sure, very familiar with those coffee drinks that I went through and mentioned and defined, but just for your information, in case some of you have never ordered some of those drinks, I hope that was helpful. Another thing that I want to share with you that I think is very, very helpful is a tip on where to get good coffee, right? So I would recommend look for places filled with locals rather than tourists, okay? And don't be afraid to step into a tiny neighborhood bar. They're often some of the best. Now, if you are a real coffee connoisseur, here in the show notes, check it out. I'm giving you guys a curated list of the best coffee shops in Italy that have been named so by the magazine called European Coffee Trip. Now, their website has a great list, city by city, so you can take a look as you're planning your vacation. You serious coffee connoisseurs that you want the perfect cup of espresso or the perfect cappuccino, this is for you. The link will be in the show notes. So as you're planning, you can look up at the list, and there's some really, really wonderful coffee bars that you can visit. I've been to some, and they're absolutely fabulous. Okay, well, that's it for today's espresso fueled episode of Travel Italia. I hope you feel ready to order your coffee like a true Italian and enjoy every sip of your adventure. Remember, coffee in Italy is more than a drink. It's a way to connect with the culture, one tiny porcelain cup at a time. If you've enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe and share it with your travel buddies. Until next time, ciao. Buon viaggio.